Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixie Land. My name's Amy. I am an ordained minister, and we're in Bible study. We are in the NIV, and we will be through the end of 2025. In this video, we are in Leviticus chapter 8, and we are going to do all of it, and that goes to verse 36. Let's jump in. We're in the middle of the Mosaic Law getting written. The ordination of Aaron and his sons. The Lord said to Moses, "Bring Aaron and his sons, their garments, their anointing oil, the bowl for the sin offering, the 2 rams, and the basket containing bread made without yeast, and gather the entire assembly at the entrance to the tent of meeting." Moses did as the Lord commanded him, and the assembly gathered at the entrance to the tent of meeting. Moses said to the assembly, "This is what the Lord has commanded to be done." Then Moses brought Aaron and his sons forward and washed them with water. He put the tunic on Aaron, tied the sash around him, clothed him with the robe, and put the ephod on him. I wonder, how clothed was Aaron when he started this dressing part? Was that done in some privacy? Hopefully. He also tied the ephod to him by its skillfully woven waistband, so it fastened on him. He placed the breastplate on him and put the Urim and Thummim in the breastpiece. So the Urim and Thummim, they will reference in much later passages, and it's used to determine what tribe people are in. I liken it to, it was their version of a pendulum in their day. And I'm talking about almost as a divination tool, which I know is very contrary to, what is or isn't supposed to be. But that doesn't mean that it's not some equivalent of that. One of them had a thing on there that said to bless, and the other one had to smite, which is yes or no. And it comes into play very importantly when they're on this march and they encounter things with armies and stuff like that, because this is how they're determining whether or not they were supposed to attack these people or not. Now, how the Urim and Thummim in the breast piece is used specifically, I don't really know. Most people don't know, because it's long since gone. When they went into dysphoria, that's when they were it was known where it was before the Babylonian exile. After the Babylonian exile, then they placed the turban on Aaron's head and set the gold plate, the sacred diadem on the front of it, as the Lord commanded Moses. Because remember, this is the plate that it's got to hang over his head here with words on it. Then Moses took the anointing oil and anointed the tabernacle and everything in it, and so consecrated them. He sprinkled some of the oil on the altar 7 times, anointing the altar and all its utensils and the basin with its stand to consecrate them. He poured some of the anointing oil on Aaron's head and anointed to consecrate him. Then he brought Aaron's sons forward, put tunics on them, tied sashes around them, and put headbands on them, as the Lord commanded Moses. He then presented the bull for the sin offering, and Aaron's and his sons laid hands on its head. Moses slaughtered the bull and took some of the blood with its finger and put it on the horns on the altar to purify the altar. He poured out the rest of the blood at the base of the altar, so he consecrated it to make atonement for him. Moses also took all the fat around the inner parts of the covering of the liver and both kidneys and their fat and burnt it on the altar. But the bull with its hide and its flesh and its offal, he burned up outside the camp as the Lord commanded Moses. He then presented the ram for burnt offering, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands on its head. Then Moses slaughtered the ram and sprinkled the blood against the altar on all sides. He cut the ram into pieces and burned the head, the pieces and the fat. Okay. He washed the inner parts and the legs with water and burned the whole ram on the altar as a burnt offering, a pleasing aroma. Me and Lauren have a disagreement about what smell of burning goat hair would be pleasing or not, but it's all right. Or, any hair. I don't know the smell of any burning hair. As an offering made to the Lord by fire, as the Lord commanded Moses. He then presented the other ram, the ram for ordination, and Aaron and his sons laid hands on its head. Moses slaughtered the ram and took some of its blood and put it on the lobe of Aaron's right ear, on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. Moses brought Aaron's sons forward and put some blood on the lobes of their right ears, on the thumbs of their right hands, and on the big toes of their right feet. Then he sprinkled blood against the altar on all sides. He took the fat tail, and all the fat around the inner parts, the covering of the liver, both kidneys and their fat, and the right thigh. Then from the basket of bread made without yeast, which was before the Lord, he took a cake of bread and made one with oil and a wafer, and he put these on the fat portions on the right thigh. He put all these in the hands of Aaron and his sons and waved them before the Lord as a wave offering. Then Moses took them from their hands, and he burnt them on the altar on top of the burnt offering as an ordination offering, a pleasing aroma, as an offer made to the Lord by fire. Then he took the breasts, Moses' share of the ordination ram, and waved it before the Lord as a wave offering, as the Lord commanded Moses, because Moses did all that work, so Moses gets the food. Then Moses took some of the anointing oil and some of the blood of the altar and sprinkled them on Aaron and his garments and his sons and their garments. So they consecrated Aaron and his garments and his sons and their garments. Moses then said to Aaron and his sons, "Cook the meat at the entrance to the tent of meeting and eat it there with the bread from the basket of the ordination offerings, as I commanded, saying, Aaron and his sons," you got A, or as I was commanded, "Aaron and his sons are to eat it. Then burn the rest of the meat and the bread. Do not leave the entrance to the tent of meeting for 7 days until the days of your ordination are complete. For your ordination will last 7 days. What has been done today was commanded by the Lord to make an atonement for you. You must stay at the entrance to the tent of meeting day and night for 7 days and do what the Lord requires so that you will not die, for that is what I have been commanded." So Aaron and his sons did everything the Lord commanded through Moses. It's a lot. It's a lot of touching things with blood. And why the right side? I've asked myself that question before. It shows up in the Bible quite frequently. The right side seems to be about for blessings, and it also seems to be who's going to be the dominant one of the group. When blessings have gone, when Israel was giving blessings to Joseph's kids, he put his right hand on one and his left hand on the other, but it wasn't the birth order, and that upset Joseph, and that's because the younger will serve the older, as is what happened with Jacob and Esau. So, until the next video, friends.